Hey, welcome to Hardware BBQ. This is your host Jason, and to all those hardware freaks and otherwise junkies out there, this is our video preview for the latest motherboard from Asus, the Rampage 3 Black Edition. This Republic of Gamers, more popularly known as the ROG series, is more popular with gamers, fanboys, and overclockers. This one isn't an exception. Now, we've seen a brand new baby from Asus India. Pretty solid, huh? Pretty darn solid. Now, we have absolutely no idea about the pricing or the release date just as yet. We'll keep you posted on that one before we know it. And in the meantime, we'll do a little rundown on some of the accessories and features that come along with this Black Beauty.
Hi, I'm the Sorcerer and I'll be speaking about the Republic of Gamers Rampage 3 Black Edition motherboard that was given to us by Asus India. Now, this motherboard uses Intel X58 chipset, so obviously it requires an MZA1366 processor from Intel. Other than that, it uses NVIDIA SLI and ATI's Crossfire, which we'll be talking about it later. Okay, so we are going to speak about the features in Rampage 3 Black Edition. The first two features, very noticeable, the ROG Thunderbolt that comes with a Killer NIC E2100 and also 2-channel DAC. The Bluetooth version 3.0 and wireless LAN support. Let's not forget ROG Connect, where you can connect your laptop to your motherboard and start overclocking just like a race car. Also, we have Extreme Engine Digi Plus, which we'll be talking about that later. So basically, there are more explanation of more specifications about the CPU, the chipset, and the memory. So whatever basic information you require, you can get it from the board. But on the preview, we'll be doing inside out so that you'll get a good idea on what to expect on this hardware. Okay, so we are going to talk about the accessories that you get with the big black box. First of all, some literature, and they have provided a really huge manual, so don't forget RTFM. Also, some stickers for your SATA cables, just in case if you require to label them. Also, we have audio precision test report. Now, when I read this, it didn't say who was the one who did this test, so I'm assuming it was done by Asus. So, whatever. There's also the usual I/O shield, and we just opened one of these. These are the wireless LAN connectors. We'll be having 2 of them. There are some SATA cables over here. 2, 4, 6, 8. There are 8 SATA cables for your hard drives. Really good stuff. It's a really long Asus cable for SLI if you want to do SLI between 2 NVIDIA graphic cards. There's a Rampage 3 Black Edition disc along with ROG sticker. Let's not forget that there is an antivirus included with it from Kaspersky. There is also a small fan that is given with ROG board. They're given this as an optional one just in case if you require to use it. Of course not everybody will be using it, and even if overclockers use it most properly, they'll use a 120 mm fan, which everybody has. There is a PCI slot which has two USB connectors and an eSATA connector. Really handy stuff. There's also a USB extension cable. The ROG cable, like I said, if you want to use your laptop to overclock your motherboard. There are also some cable ties. I'm not too sure if anybody will use them. Just keep it aside. Q connectors, no explanations needed. There are also some thermal cables which will connect to the motherboard in case you require anything more. Let's also not forget the Asus 3-way SLI, really solid build, really good stuff. So we'll be continuing ahead with the motherboard from now. Alrighty, so we're going to talk about the Thunderbolt card, which is provided with Rampage 3 Black Edition motherboard. Okay, this is also black. Like I said, this comes with a killer neck, and the chip is made by Bigfoot, and this comes with a lot of features. It comes with advanced game detect, visual bandwidth control, application blocking, online game PC monitor, and a bandwidth tester. So that's really useful, you know. And this comes with a Zonar DAC support. There is line out, line in, and optical out support. Now the DAC has an output signal to noise ratio as 116 dB. That's pretty good. We'll move ahead with the motherboard. That's it. Okay, now as you can see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 DIMMs. Now this board supports up to 48 GB of memory and up to 2200 MHz on overclock. That's a lot of memory for this board. Now over here you'll see an OC zone where anything that you want to do as far as overclocking is concerned is right over here. There's a debug LED for any of your diagnostic needs, the usual start and reset button. The on-off button is basically it's for the PCI slots in case you want to switch them off without removing it. Over here you will see the voltage headers so that you can accurately measure your voltage consumption of your system, where CPU, CPU PLL, DRAM, QPI. There are a lot of good stuff over here, so it's pretty good. Also you will see an go button, and a lot of people are familiar with it. Of course, there is an LN2 mode header. Many of the ROG boards have this. Okay. Now moving on this side, you will see the PCI slots. The first one is PCI X16 by default, and if you want to do SLI or crossfire, these two slots does PCI X16 on the first and third slot. The first slot, the second slot, and the third slot, if you're doing a try SLI or a try crossfire, the first one is 16, the second one goes 8x, and the third one goes 8x. But if you require to use all four of them, this uses quad crossfire, not quad SLI. It runs on X8, 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 and X8 support. Other than that, there is a PCI X1 where you can connect your Thunderbolt card or any card that you require. Now, as far as the chipset is concerned, the NIC support by default, it uses an Intel Gigabit Ethernet card, and the audio is from X5 Supreme FX onboard support. There are about 8 channel support with this, so it's pretty good. Moving towards downwards, you will see an SPDIF out. Now usually this header is right on top, but the reason that I kept it over here is because it's nearer to the audio codecs. So there you go. This is the front panel audio connector if you're using an onboard, if you're not using the Thunderbolt, this is what you will be using. Also on the bottom you will see an easy plug if you're using all the 4 graphic cards, and if you require extra power you will require 2 connectors. If not, it will stress power from here and it would end up burning the board and or the graphic card. Now this is the south bridge over here, but if you've seen the heatsink, it also covers up the PLX chip and the IROG chip. So it's a one solution, but thermal tape covers the south bridge area, and this pretty much comes under it. Moving onwards, you will see a 4-pin fan header, couple of 4-pin fan headers over here. The USB header, 2 more USB headers. You see 2 BIOS chips over here. If you want to switch from 1 to 2, you can use the BIOS switch. And just so that you know, there's a LED light just to let you know which chip are you exactly using. And then the 4-pin fan header again, the front panel connectors. So if you go over here, now since the south bridge, the Intel south bridge uses SATA 2 by default, there are 6 SATA 2 ports, and this one uses SATA 6 GB per second. This will be powered by J Micron chip, and these are from the south bridge. This header is powered by the NEC chip, the front panel USB 3 connectors. You just need to plug it in, and assuming your case has a USB 3.0 ports, you're good to go. It's very near to the edge, so you don't have to worry about cable management. Okay, now let's talk about the I/O connectors. You will see the keyboard and the mouse pin, PS2 pin, 2 USB 2.0 ports. These are connectors for your Wi-Fi antenna, which was given with the board. This is the CMOS reset button, just in case if you require to reset your BIOS without opening the case and removing the battery. Then there are 2 more USB 2 pins. The headers USB 3.0, where they have a separate NEC chip dedicated for it. It's the eSATA ports, also the ROG connect button with its own USB port. The Intel Gigabit LAN and a couple of more USB 2.0, and here you go, the audio ports. Now, this board uses 8-layer PCB, and it's a really well-made board. If you can see over it, you'll see a stack pool tube, which previous models have been used. Sorry. So we'll be talking about the heatsink now. Okay, so we're going to talk about the heatsink on the Rampage 3 Black Edition. Now, the entire setup is metal, so that's pretty good. The MOSFET area comes with a thermal pad, which protects the MOSFETs and the voltage regulator, whereas the NOT bridge comes with a thermal paste, and as you can see, there is a nickel plated copper pipe that connects the MOSFET to the NOT bridge. Looks pretty good, pretty thick fins, as you can see. Also, this wire connects to the board in order to power up the Republic of Gamer. This is just a LED light, so pretty much doesn't do anything else. Now, if you see these 2 mounting holes, these are for the fans that I showed earlier. Again, if you don't require it, you don't need to. It looks pretty solid. Most probably you will not require any fans, and if you do, most probably you'll use a 120 mm fan, especially for extreme overclocking. Now, the best part about the heatsinks is that it's secured using spring screws. from the rear rather than using the push pins. So that's really appreciated. The south bridge, it's one big metal. Mostly this is for the south bridge with the thermal pad. And like I said, the PLX chip gets covered over here, and also the IROG chip. So it's pretty good. That's probably. That's it. Okay, so I have installed a Nocta Utopia SE2 with a push-pull configuration, a dual slot 8800 GTS, and the Thunderbolt. To give you a clear idea on how the layout is. Now, if you look over here towards the MOSFET sink, there is ample space, but if you come over here towards the North bridge, you will see there's a very little space over here. So if you're going to install that fan, it's going to be an obstacle. So it's pretty much useless. Or most probably you'll not use that fan. If you're not going to use that fan, it's well and good. You wouldn't really require it. Coming towards the dual slot, you can see over here it's very decently laid out as far as PCI slots are concerned. You wouldn't really have any problem installing the cards, even if it's a dual slot. In case if you're going to use the second slot, in case you're going to use a second slot and the third slot, you would lose the PCI X1 if it's a dual slot card. But other than that, it shouldn't be really a problem. What I would really like to see is that the killer neck should have been implemented over here by default rather than an add-on card, because a lot of people, if they're going to spend a lot of money on the motherboard and on a graphic card, they would most probably end up acquiring a really good dedicated sound card. So they should have given this as a default on the board. That would have been really helpful. Other than that, there are not any complaints that I can see. Unfortunately, I don't have the i7 processor with me in order to review this board. But if I do, this will be the first board that I will be reviewing it.
Alright, so we've just had our tech expert, the Saucer, giving us an overview on the Rampage 3 Black Edition. Now, we just hope that you found the presentation helpful and informative. Now, if you do need more information about this product, you can visit on the website. That's www.hardwarebbq.com. Now, if you do have any more suggestions, you can join us on Twitter or Facebook. And that's it for us. Do join us the next time for more reviews and updates. Thank you very much. This is Jason signing off.